The stars were silent when the human ship Aurora drifted into the storm. For weeks, Commander Ryan and his crew had been chasing a strange signal, one that pulsed like a heartbeat across the void. No known language could match it, and no machine could fully translate it. Still, the signal carried a steady rhythm, like a call meant to be answered. The storm appeared suddenly, a great wall of plasma that danced in waves of red and gold. It was not a normal cosmic storm. It was alive, shifting in patterns as though it were protecting something. Ryan stood at the command deck, watching the storm swirl on the screens. His crew was nervous. Pilots, engineers, and scientists whispered about turning back. No other ships had ever crossed storms like this and survived. But Ryan's eyes stayed fixed on the center of the storm, where the signal grew stronger. "Push forward," he said in a steady voice. The Aurora shuddered as it entered the storm. Lightning made of fire streaked past the hull. The shields strained, groaning under pressure, but the ship did not break. Hours turned into days, and then suddenly, the storm opened. The crew gasped as they saw what lay within. Floating in the calm heart of the storm was a giant structure. It was larger than any station or fortress known to humankind. Its shape was strange, like a mountain carved into sharp towers, with rivers of molten light running across its surface. The heat shimmered in space, glowing so brightly that it seemed alive. At its center stood a vast dome, pulsing like the core of a sun. The scanners screamed with readings. Energy levels far beyond anything human science had measured poured from the structure. It was not natural. It was a construct, built long ago. The records in the ship's database offered nothing. No species, no empire, no historian had ever described this place. Dr. Myra, the ship's lead researcher, leaned close to her console. Her voice trembled. "This is older than every empire we know. This is not a ruin. It is still alive." Ryan stared at the glowing fortress. "Then we name it the Emperor's Chamber of Eternal Fire." The name spread through the ship like a spark. The crew repeated it with awe and fear. Some whispered that no human should disturb such a place. Others whispered that it was destiny. The closer they drifted, the stranger it became. The chamber did not appear abandoned. Its walls glowed with flowing rivers of molten energy. Towers cracked and shifted, releasing bursts of flame into space. Doors the size of cities were sealed tight, and yet, the crew felt as though something behind them was awake. Watching. Waiting. The ship circled slowly, mapping the vast structure. Symbols etched into the outer walls stretched for kilometers. They glowed faintly, like scars of an ancient language. Myra copied every line into her systems, searching for meaning. The symbols told fragments of stories, but none clear enough to understand. The only part she could translate was a single repeating phrase, "The fire does not die." The phrase unsettled the crew. What fire? Whose fire? Ryan's thoughts were heavier. If this chamber truly belonged to an emperor, what had become of him? As they continued to scan, the ship's systems picked up something even stranger. Inside the dome, a power source pulsed like a star. It was contained, bound, and yet still burning. The chamber was not dead. It was breathing. Engineer Darren broke the silence. "This place is not a ruin. It is a prison of fire. And something inside is still alive." The words chilled the crew. Some argued to leave, to record the discovery and run before the storm closed again. Others, their eyes wide with wonder, argued that this was the greatest discovery in human history. Humanity had always been seen as young compared to the elder species of the galaxy. But here, in the storm's heart, lay something even those elders had not claimed. Ryan listened quietly. His crew debated, but his mind was already made up. Humanity was not meant to stand outside history. They were meant to step into it. He rose from the command chair and looked toward the molten fortress. We came this far. We cross no storms to turn away now. We will enter. Silence filled the bridge. Some faces paled, others lit with fire. Ryan's words carried the same weight as the storm outside. There would be no turning back. As the aurora moved closer to the glowing surface, the signal changed. It no longer pulsed like a call. It grew faster, sharper, as if it were answering the humans in return. The storm behind them began to close, sealing the path home. There was no escape now. Only the chamber remained. The humans prepared their landing team, hearts filled with both fear and fire. They did not know what waited inside, but they knew this: no other race had dared step into the Emperor's chamber. Humanity would be the first. And the chamber, awake for the first time in centuries, waited for them. Ryan stood on the landing deck of the Aurora. Below him, his team prepared gear and sealed the airlocks. The molten glow of the Emperor's chamber of eternal fire pressed against the viewports. The light was intense. Heat waves rolled through the air. Ryan breathed deeply. He felt both fear and hope. "Team, stay sharp," he said. "We know little. We expect surprises." His second, Lieutenant Mara, nodded. She checked the scanner's readouts. Her face, lit by warning lights green and red, looked tense. Engineer Darren carried the energy suits forward. These suits were strong and heavy. They could resist extreme heat. They could hold life support for many hours. Myra carried her data pad. She held records and mapping tools and portable translator devices. They stepped into the chamber through a massive gateway. The gate was carved from black stone that glowed at the seams. Light bled through cracks like veins filled with magma. The air smelled of metal and hot flame. The floor underfoot felt alive. It hummed. It pulsed. Every step echoed against walls that felt older than stars. Myra paused. "Look at these symbols," she said. She pointed to a huge relief carved into a pillar. It showed a figure seated on a throne surrounded by fire. Many smaller figures knelt before it. The figure held a staff or maybe a weapon. The image was proud. It was powerful. It was ancient. Ryan studied the relief. "This emperor," he said, "he ruled with fire. But did he protect or destroy?" He pressed Myra's shoulder gently. She nodded and continued scanning every wall, every pillar. They moved deeper. The temperature rose. Their suits glowed dimly in warning hues. The heat sensors listed warnings. Some sections felt close to breaking tolerances. Darren adjusted coolant valves on his suit. His hands were steady even though sweat collected at his brow. They reached a smaller chamber. Flame flowed across channels built into the floor. Light arced across the walls like waves. The ceiling towered high and disappeared into shadows. Yet the light from below glowed strong enough to show shapes. Tall archways, half-open doors, steel bridges over pools of molten energy. Mara held up the translator device. She tapped it and hoped for connection. The old language carved into the archway glowed. The device tried to match patterns. Things like servant, crown, fire, eternity. But sentences did not form. Only fragments. The meaning felt both sacred and terrible. Footsteps sounded behind them. Ryan paused. He raised a hand. Everyone halted. The echo bounced off distant walls. It could be falling rocks. It could be nothing. But in that silence, fear grew heavier. Ryan motioned Mara to follow quietly. They turned a corner. A corridor stretched forward. The molten floor glowed beneath grated walkways. A fine mist of heat rose up. Across one grate, a shadow moved. The group froze. The shadow was tall. It strode with purpose. The sound of metal against rock came next. It was not animal. It was metal. It was heavy. Darren whispered, "It is a construct." Mara nodded, her voice tight, "Yes." Slow and deliberate, the figure stepped into the light. It was a guardian. Its body made of bronze and flame. Limbs strong like pillars. Eyes burning red light. It halted and measured them. Ryan swallowed. He stepped forward in front of his crew. He raised his hands where his suit allowed. He spoke with steady voice. "We mean no harm." The guardian did not respond. It tilted its head. It seemed to assess their worth. Ryan felt the air grow hotter. The guardian's eyes glowed brighter. They reflected fire. Myra held out a relic she brought with her. It was a simple crystal orb found near the gateway. It glowed faintly. She placed it on the heat-resistant floor. The light from the orb pulsed in rhythm with the signal they followed. The guardian's eyes widened. It lowered its head slightly. The chamber rumbled. The ground vibrated. The glowing floor channels shuddered. Flames flashed across walls. The guardian raised one arm. It spoke in thunder, voice old as stone. Words in the ancient language rolled across the corridor. The translator device sparked to life and tried to render meaning. Myra listened. She recorded rapidly. "When fire lives eternal, the true stand forth," the guardian said. Ryan's heart hammered. He asked, "How do we stand forth?" The guardian did not answer in speech they could understand. Instead, it pointed deeper into the chamber. A large door, carved from living metal, stood ajar. Light from inside spilled outward. The signal strongest here. The pulsing core awaited them beyond that door. The team exchanged glances. Darren adjusted his cooling systems, Mara checked her weapon mounts though they carried tools not arms. Myra steadied her hands. Ryan nodded. "We go together." They moved forward. Heat beat at their backs. Flames reflected in walls. The door creaked open as they passed. Inside lay a vast hall. The ceiling arched high. Molten pillars stood like guardians themselves. At the center of the hall, suspended in midair, floated a sphere of light. It was the star core they saw on scanners. It burned, yet it did not consume the chamber. It was tethered by metal bands etched with runes and energy fields glowing blue. Myra gasped quietly. She placed a hand against her chest. The power felt impossible. It lived there. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Ryan stepped closer. Flames danced around his boots but did not touch him. The suits protected them. He reached out one hand. He felt heat radiate even through gloves. He felt awe. Ryan spoke softly, "This is the heart of the chamber. The fire that does not die." The sphere pulsed. Light washed the hall. The runes glowed brighter. The bands hummed. The chamber responded to their presence. The heart of the Emperor's power was alive and aware. They stood there, human shapes against ancient flame. They felt small and great at once. The journey inward had revealed something wondrous and dangerous. Something that chose to watch. Something that would test them. Ryan looked at the core. He looked at his team. He nodded. We have entered where none before have crossed. Now we see what it asks of us. They held their breath. The light pulsed again. The hall around them seemed to wait. In that moment, the chamber's meaning opened just a little. And humanity took its first true step inside the Emperor's legacy. The vast hall was silent except for the low hum of the burning core. The humans stood in awe, staring at the glowing sphere of light suspended in chains of metal and energy. Its heat rolled over them in waves, but their suits held strong. Commander Ryan kept his gaze steady. He felt that they had stepped into something greater than a simple discovery. This chamber was not just old stone and molten rivers. It was alive. It was aware. Then the silence broke. A heavy sound echoed through the chamber. The floor trembled. The light from the core flickered as if something stirred beneath it. Ryan motioned for his crew to spread out, their eyes sharp and cautious. From the molten floor at the far end of the hall, a shape began to rise. At first it looked like liquid fire, spilling upward in a spiral. Then it hardened, forming limbs of glowing steel. A head took shape, crowned with horns of flame. A chest formed, armored in bronze and gold, with veins of molten light running through it. The figure grew taller and taller until it towered above the humans. Its eyes were two burning suns, piercing and alive. Its voice rolled out like thunder. I am the Guardian, it said. Protector of the chamber. Keeper of the eternal fire. The humans froze. Engineer Darren swallowed hard, his voice low. It is alive. A construct, but alive. The Guardian stepped forward, each step shaking the ground. Flames trailed from its body, yet they did not consume the stone. Its gaze fell on the small team. You have entered the chamber, it said. Few have dared. Fewer have survived. Ryan steadied himself. His heart pounded, but his voice was calm. We are explorers. We mean no harm. We seek to understand. The Guardian's burning eyes flickered. Words are easy. Fire is truth. To claim the right to stand here, you must be tested. The Emperor commanded it. The chamber remembers. Myra clutched her data pad tightly. She whispered, it will test us. That is its purpose. The Guardian raised one hand. A circle of fire blazed to life on the floor. Within the circle, images appeared. Not real objects, but flames shaped into visions. They shifted like memories, forming scenes of war and trial. First, the Guardian said, you will be tested in mind. The Emperor prized wisdom above force. Answer if you can, or burn if you cannot. The fire formed a riddle, its words echoing through the chamber, I am the beginning and the end. I am the path yet also the barrier. Without me, none may live. With too much of me, all will perish. What am I? The crew looked at one another. Darren frowned, sweat on his brow. Myra's lips moved quickly as she thought. Mara bit her lip. Ryan studied the flames carefully. Finally, Myra whispered, it is water. The Guardian's burning eyes turned to her. The fire shifted, dimmed, and then pulsed in agreement. Wisdom found, it said. The circle of fire changed again. The Guardian's voice boomed. Next is endurance. The Emperor demanded strength not only of body but of will. Stand, and prove your fire does not fade. The floor beneath them split, and rivers of molten light poured forth. Heat rose in choking waves. Their suits screamed warnings. The air seemed too heavy to breathe. Mara fell to one knee, teeth gritted. Darren pressed his palms against his suit, fighting the rising temperature. Myra gasped but stayed on her feet. Ryan stood tall. "Hold fast," he commanded. Together. They linked hands. They drew strength from each other. The heat pushed harder, but the Guardian watched in silence. At last, the molten rivers faded. The heat lessened. The chamber cooled. The Guardian lowered its arm. "Endurance proven," it said. Finally, the Guardian's body flared brighter than before. "The last test is courage. Many have wisdom. Many have strength. But without courage, the fire dies. You must face the flame and not turn away." A new vision of fire burst into shape. It became a wall of flame, tall and endless. Behind it, shadows twisted like enemies waiting. The Guardian's voice thundered again. "Step forward. Step through. Or remain forever in the chamber as ash." The crew hesitated. The fire roared higher. Fear touched their hearts. Darren whispered, "It will kill us." But Ryan's eyes burned with resolve. He stepped forward. "If this is the test, then we face it. No fear." He looked at his crew. "We are human. We rise together." One by one, they followed him. Their suits glowed in warning. The flames licked at their armor, but they pressed on. The wall of fire tried to push them back, but they did not stop. Step by step, they moved through. And then, as they reached the heart of the wall, the fire vanished. There was no pain. No harm. Only silence. They stood on the other side, whole. The Guardian bowed its head. The flames in its eyes softened. "You have faced the trial. You have not yielded. You are not like the others. The chamber accepts you. The Emperor watches." Ryan breathed heavily but smiled. His crew's eyes shone with pride. Humanity had faced the chamber's fire and endured. The Guardian stepped aside, revealing a hidden passage deep within the chamber. "Go forward," it said. "The secrets of the Emperor await those who prove worthy." Ryan nodded. He looked at his team. "We keep moving." Together, they walked into the passage, hearts burning with courage. The chamber had tested them and found them strong. But greater secrets and greater dangers still waited ahead. The hidden passage was narrow, yet it stretched far beyond what the human eyes could see. The walls glowed faintly with molten veins, like blood running through stone. The air was warmer here, but bearable. The team followed Commander Ryan, their boots clanging lightly on the metallic floor. Dr. Myra scanned the walls constantly. Symbols and inscriptions stretched for kilometers. Every mark told stories of civilizations, battles, and rulers long forgotten. Some symbols resembled creatures they had never seen, while others depicted stars and planets aligned in ways impossible for their knowledge. "These symbols are not just decoration," Myra said softly. "They are records. The chamber itself remembers history." Lieutenant Mara adjusted her helmet light, revealing a section where the walls shifted slightly, as if alive. "It feels like the chamber is watching us," she whispered. "Not the Guardian, but the walls themselves." Engineer Darren walked behind them, his hands resting on the rail of the walkway. "Every step we take, it responds," he said. "We are not walking through ruins. We are walking through a living record." As they moved deeper, the corridor opened into a vast gallery. Massive doors rose from the floor and ceiling, carved with images of battles between stars. At the center of the gallery floated another sphere, smaller than the star core, but filled with a soft golden light. It pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. Myra leaned forward, running her hands near the sphere without touching it. "This is the key," she said. "I think this stores knowledge. Power. Or maybe both." Ryan stepped closer. "We must be careful," he warned. "The Guardian tested us for a reason. The chamber is alive. It will protect its secrets." Suddenly, the sphere flared. Holographic images filled the air, forming entire star systems, ships, and cities in vivid detail. Myra gasped. "These are the worlds the Emperor ruled," she said. "Look at the fleets. Look at the technology." The humans realized that the chamber was not just a fortress. It was a repository of ancient knowledge and power. Every empire the humans had heard about seemed small compared to the reach of this one ruler. The Emperor had commanded thousands of worlds, built fleets that could cross galaxies, and created machines of unimaginable power. Darren ran his hands along the glowing pathways embedded in the floor. "This energy, it is not like anything we know. It could power a planet or destroy one. The Emperor controlled it perfectly." Mara studied the images. "But look here," she said. "Other species came before us. They tried to claim this power. The records show failure. They were destroyed or scattered. The chamber chose them, and they could not survive." Ryan nodded slowly. "The chamber tests. It only allows the worthy. That means it is judging us. It is learning from us." Myra approached a wall lined with inscriptions. She pressed her translator device against the stone. The symbols shifted, forming words the machine could barely interpret. "Those who seek power must show unity. Those who divide shall fall. Fire reveals the true heart." Ryan looked at his team. The Emperor did not rule with fear alone. He valued strength, wisdom, and unity. That is why the chamber tests all who enter. It chooses not just the strongest, but the worthy. The sphere of light pulsed again, and a new projection appeared. This time it showed a battle, not between ships or armies, but against the chamber itself. Massive constructs, similar to the Guardian, fought against invaders who tried to seize the Emperor's power. Every fleet was destroyed. Every soldier was consumed by fire or frozen by energy fields. The chamber had defended itself for centuries. Mara shivered. It has been waiting for someone who can survive. Someone who can understand it. Ryan stepped closer to the glowing sphere. He extended his hand, almost instinctively. The sphere pulsed and reacted to him, sending waves of energy through the air. It felt warm, alive, and welcoming, yet demanding. It was as if the chamber recognized him and his crew. The Guardian appeared at the entrance of the gallery, still massive and imposing. Its voice rolled through the chamber. "You have proven courage, wisdom, and endurance. You have passed the trials. Yet knowledge alone is not enough. The chamber tests the spirit as much as the mind. Do you seek to claim what you find here for humanity, or for yourself?" Ryan met the Guardian's burning eyes. "For humanity," he said firmly. "We are explorers, not conquerors. We will protect the knowledge, use it wisely, and stand together. That is our strength." The Guardian nodded slightly, and the chamber responded. Walls shimmered, pathways shifted, and the golden sphere floated closer to the humans. Energy flowed from it, revealing hidden rooms, ancient ships in suspended animation, and weapons of unimaginable scale. This was the Emperor's legacy, preserved through fire and time. Myra whispered, "We have found more than history. We have found responsibility. Whoever controls this power must use it carefully." Ryan turned to his team. "We are not here to conquer. We are here to understand, protect, and honor. Humanity has a choice. We must choose wisely." The chamber seemed to hum in approval. Fire coursed through veins in the walls, lighting the corridors with a soft glow. The humans felt small yet significant, part of something greater. They had entered the Emperor's chamber, faced its trials, and discovered secrets that could change the future. But deeper chambers still awaited. Secrets that tested not only their mind and body, but the very heart of who they were. The pulse of the eternal fire seemed to whisper, "The true challenge has only just begun." The team entered a new chamber, larger than any they had seen before. The walls rose high, glowing with molten light, and the floor was patterned with golden channels that pulsed like flowing rivers. In the center, a vast platform of black stone floated above a pool of fire, and the air shimmered with heat. Commander Ryan stepped forward, his eyes scanning every detail. "This must be the heart of the trial," he said. "The Guardian warned us. Now we face the fire itself." Lieutenant Mara adjusted her suit, gripping the edges of her gloves. "It looks impossible," she said quietly. "No one could survive this without the chamber's protection." Engineer Darren studied the platform. "The heat is intense. Even with our suits, it will challenge everything we have: strength, endurance, courage." Dr. Myro looked at the golden channels glowing along the walls. "The chamber tests unity," she said. "We cannot succeed alone. We have to work together." The Guardian's voice echoed from the shadows. "Step forward, humans. The trial of fire begins. Only those who do not falter may pass." Without warning, the platform rose higher into the chamber, floating above the molten pool. Flames roared beneath them, sending waves of heat upward. The air itself became thick, heavy, and difficult to breathe. The humans held hands, their suits protecting them, but their hearts raced. "Stay close," Ryan said. "We move together. We do not falter." The platform tilted suddenly, forcing them to balance. Channels of molten light formed moving bridges around the pool, rising and falling like waves. One wrong step could send them into the fire below. The chamber seemed to test their coordination, their trust in each other. Mara's foot slipped, but Ryan caught her arm. "Careful," he said. "We watch each other. That is how we survive." They continued across the moving paths, hearts pounding. The fire roared beneath them, lighting their suits with red reflections. The chamber seemed alive, shifting and changing to test them at every step. A massive wall of flame rose in front of them, stretching from floor to ceiling. The heat intensified, and the team felt pressure on their suits. The Guardian's voice echoed above the roar. "Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite it." Ryan stepped toward the wall. "We have come this far. We do not turn back." Mara, Darren, and Myra followed him. Together, they advanced through the flame, their suits absorbing the heat, their hearts steady. The fire seemed to push against them, trying to separate them, to test their unity. But the humans did not yield. The chamber responded to their courage. Flames twisted and danced, forming patterns on the walls. Shadows of the Emperor's armies appeared, marching as if to remind them of those who had failed before. But the humans pressed forward, steady and unbroken. As they reached the center of the chamber, the platform stopped above the pool of molten fire. At its edge floated a glowing crystal, radiating warmth and light. Myra approached it cautiously. "This must be the reward," she said. "The chamber acknowledges those who endure." The guardian appeared again, towering and immense. "You have passed the trial of fire," it said. "Not by strength alone, but by unity, courage, and will. Few have come this far. You are worthy of the Emperor's legacy." Ryan stepped closer to the guardian. "We did not come for power alone," he said. "We came to understand, to protect, and to learn. Humanity has the strength to rise together, not to conquer." The guardian's eyes flared with molten light. "The chamber tests all who enter. Many failed. Some fell to fear. Some to greed. But you humans have shown the heart of fire itself. The chamber accepts you." Suddenly, the flames around the chamber receded. The heat lessened. The pools of molten fire calmed, forming glowing rivers instead. Light flowed along the golden channels, illuminating doors and pathways that had been hidden before. The trial was over. Myra stepped back, breathing heavily. "We made it," she whispered. "The chamber, it trusts us." Darren nodded. "It is incredible. This place, this power, it is beyond anything humanity has ever seen." Mara smiled, though her suit was scorched and warm. "We survived. We stood together. That is what matters." Ryan looked around the chamber, his eyes glowing in the reflection of the molten rivers. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The chamber has shown us what humanity can do. But greater challenges still lie ahead. The Emperor's secrets are waiting, and we must face them wisely." The Guardian lowered its massive head. "The trial of fire is complete. You have proven your worth. Continue forward, humans, and discover what lies beyond. The chamber awaits those who endure and understand." The humans nodded, ready. They had faced fire, they had faced fear, and they had not faltered. United, they stepped forward, leaving the molten platform behind. Their hearts burned with courage, and their minds filled with the promise of discovery. The chamber had tested them, and humanity had risen. The chamber opened into a vast hall, unlike anything the humans had seen before. The flames of the trial were gone, replaced by soft golden light that filled the air. The walls were carved with endless patterns, telling stories of the Emperor's reign. Rows of towering statues lined the hall, each shaped like a warrior, their eyes glowing faintly as if watching the new arrivals. Commander Ryan stepped forward, his voice steady but filled with awe. "This must be the inner sanctum. The Emperor's most guarded place." Dr. Myra traced her fingers along the carvings on the wall. "These are not just decorations. They are records. Look at this: armies marching, worlds bending to the Emperor's command, cities burning and rebuilding. This place holds the memory of an entire age." Lieutenant Mara scanned the statues with caution. "It feels like they are alive," she whispered. "Like they are waiting for something." Engineer Darren adjusted his visor and studied the golden floor. "Not waiting. Watching. The chamber is never still. It judges every step we take." As they moved deeper into the hall, the light grew brighter. At the far end, a grand throne of black stone rose above the floor. It was massive, carved with fire symbols, and on it rested a crown that shimmered with molten light. "The Emperor's crown," Myra breathed. "This is what the chamber protects. The symbol of his eternal fire." The Guardian appeared again, its tall form rising from the golden light. The fire crown is the heart of the chamber, it said. It holds the emperor's power, his memory, and his command. But no one wears it without cost. Many have tried. Many have fallen. Ryan stood firm. We did not come to steal, he said. We came to learn, to honor, and to bring back what might guide humanity. The guardian's molten eyes studied him. Words are simple. The crown does not answer to words. It answers to will. If you would claim it, you must prove humanity's strength not with fire alone, but with choice. The crown does not belong to one person. It belongs to those who can carry its weight. The crown pulsed, sending waves of light across the hall. The statues trembled as if awakened, and the carvings on the walls began to shift. The images now showed humans Ryan, Mara, Myra, and Darren standing where the Emperor once stood. Mara stepped closer, her heart racing. It is showing us, she said. As if we are already part of the story. Myra whispered, the chamber sees us as successors. But what does that mean? The guardian lifted its hand, and the crown rose from the throne, floating in the air. Choose, it said. Who among you will carry the emperor's fire? The humans exchanged glances. None of them moved. None of them spoke at first. The weight of the choice was too heavy. Finally, Ryan shook his head. This is not for one of us. The emperor ruled alone, but humanity is different. We rise together. If the crown demands one hand, then it cannot be ours. But if it can answer to all, then we claim it as one. The guardian's fiery eyes flared brighter. A bold choice. Few have spoken so. Myra stepped forward beside Ryan. He is right. Humanity's strength is unity. We cannot repeat the mistakes of rulers who stood above others. If the chamber accepts us, it must accept all of us, not just one. Darren raised his hand, steady and firm. Then let us face this together. If the crown rejects us, so be it. But if it accepts, humanity claims it as one people. Mara nodded, her voice strong. Together, or not at all. The guardian's form flickered, like a flame in the wind. Slowly, it nodded. Very well. Let the crown decide. The glowing crown descended, its molten light spreading across the hall. It hovered above the humans, then split into 4 streams of fire, touching each of their foreheads. The flames did not burn but warmed them deeply, filling their hearts with energy and strength. Visions poured into their minds, stars being born, fleets crossing the galaxy, worlds uniting and falling. They felt the emperor's triumphs, his failures, his loneliness on the throne. And then the visions shifted, showing humanity's path, their struggles on Earth, their rise into the stars. The 2 stories intertwined, fire meeting flesh, past meeting future. When the vision faded, the crown had vanished. In its place, 4 glowing marks remained on their suits, burning softly like embers. The fire accepts you, the guardian said. Not as one ruler, but as many voices. You are not the emperor reborn. You are humanity awakened. The statues bowed their heads, and the walls glowed brighter. The chamber itself seemed to breathe in approval. Ryan looked at his team, his voice low but filled with pride. We did not claim it for power. We claimed it for all of us. Humanity will rise, not as subjects, but as guardians. Myra smiled, her eyes bright with firelight. The chamber has given us trust. Now we must carry it wisely. Darren clenched his fists, the ember mark glowing on his hand. The galaxy will know humanity not by fear, but by strength of unity. Mara stood tall, her voice steady. The Emperor's fire belongs not to one throne but to every heart that dares to rise. The Guardian spread its arms. Then go forth, humans. The chamber has chosen. The eternal fire burns within you. Carry it beyond these walls, and let the galaxy see. The great hall rumbled, doors of light opening behind the throne. A path stretched forward, glowing brighter than any they had walked before. Humanity had claimed the chamber's fire not for one, but for all. And so they stepped ahead, marked by the flame of eternity, carrying with them the weight of a galaxy and the promise of a future yet to come. The team moved through the chamber's final corridor, each step echoing off walls that seemed to remember every footfall. The golden light bathed them, soft but full of energy. The marks of the eternal fire glowed faintly on their suits, a reminder of the chamber's trust and humanity's new responsibility. Commander Ryan led the way. "We carry the chamber's fire," he said quietly. "Not to conquer, but to protect and to rise." Dr. Myra scanned the walls, still covered with carvings and symbols. "These tell of fleets, cities, and stars under the Emperor's rule," she said. "But they also show failure. Even great power is meaningless without wisdom and unity." Lieutenant Mara looked at her teammates. "We faced fire, courage, and trial together. That is what makes us different. That is what the chamber recognized." Engineer Darren adjusted his suit. "And now we carry something greater than any weapon or ship. We carry a lesson of strength, unity, and responsibility." They stepped out of the chamber into a massive docking bay. Suspended above them were ancient starships, untouched by time, glowing faintly with dormant power. These were the Emperor's fleets, hidden for centuries, waiting for one deemed worthy. Ryan's eyes widened. "The chamber has given us more than knowledge. It has given us the means to act. These fleets, they are ours to command. But we must be careful." Myra approached the nearest ship, her hands trembling slightly as she touched its hull. "The technology is beyond anything humanity has built. We could use it to defend ourselves or to destroy worlds. The chamber's fire trusts us to choose wisely." The Guardian appeared, its molten form casting shadows across the bay. "You have claimed the chamber's fire. You have proven humanity's worth. But the galaxy will not wait. Others will seek this power. What you do next will define the path of your species." Ryan stepped forward, looking at his team. "We do not claim it for war. We claim it to protect, to unite, and to show that humanity can rise to its potential. That is how we honor the chamber and the Emperor's legacy." The Guardian's eyes blazed brighter. "Then let the fire guide you. Let it flow through your actions. Let it remind you that power alone is meaningless without courage and unity." Suddenly, the ships began to hum with life. Lights flickered across their hulls, energy fields stabilizing. Engines roared softly, as if waking from a long sleep. The crew watched in awe. The chamber had prepared these ships for millennia, and now they answered humanity's presence. Ryan raised a hand. "This fleet is not just for us. It is for humanity. We defend those who cannot defend themselves. We explore the stars. We rise together." Myra nodded. "And we must remember what the chamber taught us. Wisdom and unity are stronger than any weapon." As the humans prepared to leave, a wave of energy swept through the bay. The chamber seemed to acknowledge their decision. Light spread across every wall and floor, pulsing with warmth and life. The Guardian's voice resonated. "Go. Let humanity rise. Let the fire burn in every heart that dares to step forward. The crew boarded the first starship. Engines hummed as power surged through every system. Ryan took the captain's seat, Mara at communications, Myra overseeing navigation, and Darren monitoring energy flows. Together, they formed the first human team to command the Emperor's fleet. The docking bay doors opened, revealing the storm-filled space beyond. The signal that had drawn them here now pulsed more strongly, reaching out into the galaxy. The humans felt it as a call, a challenge, and an opportunity. Ryan spoke to his team. The galaxy will test us. Other species will come, seeking the chamber's power. But we do not fear. We have faced fire, trial, and judgment. Now we rise, as humans, as one. Mara smiled. It is the start of something new. We carry the chamber's fire with us. Myra adjusted the navigation controls. We explore, we protect, we grow. That is our path. Darren looked at the engines. And we do it together. That is our strength. The Aurora and the ancient fleet moved in unison, rising from the storm into open space. Stars stretched before them like endless possibilities. The chamber's fire pulsed within them, a reminder of their trials and their responsibility. Ryan looked out at the galaxy. The chamber chose us. Now the galaxy will know that humanity does not bow. Humanity rises. And we will carry the fire wherever it is needed. The Guardian's form faded, its voice echoing one final time. The fire is yours. Use it wisely. Let it burn eternal. And as the humans led the Emperor's fleet into the stars, the galaxy changed. A new force had awakened, not for conquest, but for hope. Humanity had returned the favor of the eternal fire. They would rise to protect, to explore, and to prove that courage, unity, and wisdom could shine brighter than any weapon or empire. The fire of the Emperor's chamber now lived within them, eternal, guiding, and unstoppable.